Hi, this is Debbie, and today we're going to talk about multitasking and why it's actually so bad for your brain. So first off, there really is no such thing as multitasking. All you're doing is really switching back and forth between projects. Your brain cannot actually perform two cognitive functions at the same time. So yes, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. Actually, you can drive a car, listen to the radio, and be chewing gum at the same time. But you cannot perform two math problems at the same time. So your brain cannot process two cognitive functions at the same time. So when you're multitasking, you're actually just switching back and forth between projects. So a lot of research has been done on multitasking, and here is why it's so bad for you. So NASA psychologist James Johnston did a study, and he discovered in this study that it actually, by multitasking, it actually takes you longer to complete a project than if you had just started it and worked on it through completion or worked on it until it reached a natural stopping point. Also, your quality of work is lower than if you had, again, just started a project and worked on it until it was completed or until it reached a natural stopping point. By stopping and starting, you are actually breaking up your train of thought and your focus, so your quality of work is lower. And then he also discovered that people who multitask make more mistakes. So by multitasking, your quality of work is lower, it takes you longer, and you make more mistakes. University of London also did a study on multitasking, and it showed that by multitasking, you were actually lowering your IQ by 10 points. That's more than if you were actually stoned. So that's kind of a shocker. And then there was another study done by Harvard that actually says you are rewiring and retraining your brain by multitasking so that you're unable to focus on things for a long period of time. You're actually giving yourself what is called acquired ADD. Dr. John Rady of Harvard said, and I quote, "We are choosing a state of being that most people consider to be an affliction, and they take medication to alleviate." So you're actually rewiring your brain to not be able to focus for an extended period of time. Now, I have a confession. I used to think I was the queen of multitasking. I was a project manager. I was a mother, and I was working all the time. And I managed over 350 projects and had to keep them all moving forward at the same time and keep communication up between all of the parties that were involved. So I hit the ground running, and I was constantly distracted by what I was trying to get out and what I was working on, and phone calls and interruptions and emails and people wanting to know the status of things. It was very overwhelming, but I thought I was really great at keeping the ball, all the balls up in the air and by multitasking. So when I read about all of this study and research that was done behind multitasking, I was skeptical. I thought, I'm better than that. I didn't really believe it. I was very skeptical about the research. So they had a challenge to find out if multitasking had affected your brain or not. And so the challenge was to take a task or project and sit down and work on it for 60 minutes without any distractions or interruptions, and see if you could work for an entire hour on one project without being distracted. So I thought, okay, I can do that. So I set the timer on my phone, and I went heads down and went to work on a project. And I'm working and I'm thinking I'm in the zone, and then the thoughts start popping in. I wonder if so-and-so got back to me on that email that I sent. And then the thought pops into my head that, I forgot to remind my son of something. And then I found myself wanting to check my phone for text message or something. Even though I hadn't heard it ring or ding, I found myself wanting to look at my phone. So I said, okay, well, I've been working for quite a while now. So I stopped and I looked at my phone, and only 23 minutes had gone by. I was only able to focus probably, between 20 and 23 minutes before my brain started wandering off and started thinking about other things. So it's really an eye-opener for me. So, and there's a lot of people that have really trained themselves to focus, and it's hard to stop and think about doing just one thing for any length of time. but I don't know if you know a lot about the late great Steve Jobs. He was really a one-task person. When he was head of Pixar Studios, movie studios are famous for putting out, you know, 2 or 3, 4 movies a year and hoping that one of them would be a blockbuster. Well, when Steve Jobs took over Pixar, he said all of his creative team, everybody was going to work on one movie a year, just one movie a year. So you had great blockbuster like Toy Story. That's such a great movie because it's got a lot of humor in it. It's got a lot of things that go over kids' heads, but it's humorous for adults. So when adults took their kids to see this movie, they really got to enjoy it as well. So Toy Story was a great movie. And the same thing with Apple. You know, Apple only came out with one new product a year. He had everybody focus their energy and efforts and creativity on one project. And that's what made it so great. So here is your challenge. If you want to see if multitasking has affected your wiring of your brain, I ask you to take the challenge as well. Set the timer on your phone for 60 minutes. Pick a project and go heads down and see if you can work on that project without any interruptions or distractions for 60 minutes. And if you can, that's fantastic. Because again, it took me a little while. Now I actually have the opposite problem. Now I can work heads down on a project for 2 or 3 hours, which is not good either. You should take a break every 60 to 90 minutes, walk away for 10 or 15 minutes, and just helps you refresh and rejuvenate, and you're able to focus better when you sit back down to work on that project. But you need to get up and just take a little break, not check email, voicemail, all of that. Just walk away, get some fresh air, go get a cup of coffee, a drink of water, whatever, and then go back and continue to work on your project. So I hope you will consider taking the challenge. Send me a message. Let me know if you took the challenge and how you did and if you were able to focus. And again, if you like these videos, I hope you will subscribe to my channel. I hope you found this information useful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.